Nigeria is a very well-endowed country. So we're not lacking in resource. And our human resource is our strongest resource.
We should learn to build legacies or live life for others.
Before we run out of time, I have a question. What's your talent? What would you have been? And we have to go quickly before we run out of. If you were not doing what did you want to be?
I did tap dance.
Yeah. I would have just been a lover boy.
Yeah, right.
Fed up with this whole generation, let's let that generation get away with everything. They're always right because they're older than we are. They know better, which they don't. If they knew better, why would Nigeria still be in the state that it's in? It's been in their hands for however long.
Religion is money in this country.
Yeah.
Okay. And even more so, not only is it money, it also works hand in hand or is twinned with politics. All right?
From the examples of how you deal with the problems of Lagos, and if you come down to Lagos, solve VI, solve Mushi, and then you can learn, and then you cannot solve Nigeria's problem in 2019.
I am not against worshiping God. I'm not against singing to God. I'm not against any of that. But there needs to be some consideration. Not everybody buys into that.
Today, we are less honest. We spend all the day in church. We give all the money to the church. So even if you are a true man of God, as far as I'm concerned, you are complicit in the downfall of this country.
If the National Assembly members were asked to swear by Amadioha and Shongo and the rest, a lot of them will not follow.
I'm not sure quite. I have a reason for why they may not do that. Right. But I would be
because they know the consequences.
I would be sidetracked. To be honest, every sexual encounter you have means you've slept with everybody that person has slept with. And there are lots of viruses that don't even have any name that you know of that you will get for life, and you will be transmitting this as you go along.
The budget for sex in Nigeria annually, even in the world, is triple the national budget.
What I'm saying is we must fight to make our democracy real for us.
I'll bust your bubble. There is no hope. There's no decision.
No. I think the people that believe in these pastors, they need serious mental health check.
Because, people might be thinking, we're just, uncivilized, crazy, mad people.
I'm not part of you people.
No, I said people.
I'm waiting to say my own.
No problem. That's why I'm talking now. You talk your own.
Funding tertiary education in Nigeria. I fell in love with Obafemi Awolowo University well before I became a student of the institution. From the stretch of well-kept lawns and the carefully laid out trees on both sides of the dual carriageway that leads into the campus, Obafemi Awolowo University is a beauty to behold. The buildings were architectural masterpieces that were well ahead of their times. Those classes, auditoriums, lecture theaters were fully air-conditioned. As a matter of fact, from the design of some of those lecture theaters, for example, the theaters in White House, that's the Physical Sciences building, it was obvious that the designer did not contemplate a season when we would not be able to provide air conditioner in those lecture theaters. We were not supposed to ever get that poor. And that was the right thinking in 1962. By the time I actually became a student in 1987, the air conditioners in most of those lecture theaters have packed up and never to be revived. Some years after, when I came on a visit, you could literally fetch rainwater from some classrooms and even lecturers' offices due to major roof leakages. Before I left Ife in 1991, the freshers that came in were already holding classes in the amphitheater and sports stadium. Now, 1991 was 30 years ago, and the infrastructure decay in these institutions have not abated. The bad news, however, is that under the current funding model for university education in Nigeria, things are not about to get better. In fact, they will get worse. I'm constrained to get blunt with this. Not based on current 10 months closure of Nigerian universities, but observations of the university funding space from when I became a student of one of those institutions 33 years ago. Incidentally, during my graduate studies in the US, I happened to have worked as an analyst in a department called Institutional Research in the university. That department was the custodian of the entire university numbers from enrollment to budget. And I can say for free that the problem of stretched government funding for university education is not peculiar to Nigeria. The only difference is that they are way ahead of the curve in terms of the attention paid to education. All those new agreements and negotiations being worked out between government and ASU, I'm sorry to say, will be observed in breaches over the years. And this extended strike will not be the last. We are at that junction where stakeholders must first accept this reality and then begin to work out the next phase in the funding modalities for our universities. And that phase will draw resources from places other than the FGN coffers. So we need additional sources of income to fund university education. According to donorbox.org, the combined endowment income university research funding from science philanthropy in the US was about $7 billion a year. That's about 2.8 trillion naira. In 2017, contributions to the US colleges and universities reached $43.6 billion. That's about 17.5 trillion naira, which is much bigger than our entire 2021 FGN budget. And these are contributions, not from the government. It would be simplistic, though, to assume that we can start comparing ourselves with the US. But those numbers should give us a peek into what is possible when we design a workable funding model that incorporates corporate organizations, individual alumnus, and philanthropists in supporting university education funding. I cannot finish my thoughts in this one episode. I may have to consider a part 2.
Chew another one.
Well said, Bola.
Very well said. My only question,
Why is that you policy very well said, very well said?
Well said, because it echoes the thoughts of a lot of us.
Yeah. And particularly,
no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just saying.
I know that 5% of every company's profit
TED funds
is paid to the government as taxes for education. Aside from company income tax, which is 30% of your profit, 5%.
Yes.
2% education
contribution to TED funds.
What happens to the money?
Tertiary.
It's used for the
tertiary education.
In what
trust
way
funds.
is this in what way is this fraction?
It's TED fund actually, tertiary education trust fund. They actually.
Then what do they do? Because
they
said.
No, they develop, they are building structures in most of the infrastructure in most of the university. But it's not enough, it's just a drop. You know, the fund is not enough compared
not about
to
just building infrastructure.
Yes, compared to the universities.
It's not just about building infrastructure. Do we actually, fund research?
Correct.
And even with the funding infrastructure, there's a continuous slide in infrastructure decay.
In those schools.
In many of the schools.
They talk of, they say, see Oyibo is in a father. Now what for you? See, Bola said when they built those structure, the people that built them in the 60s, presumed that being a university, you as a university student, you are not supposed to suffer.
You're not supposed to sweat.
My professor then, Professor Unoma, late professor, God rest his soul, now said, as undergraduate of history in the University of Ibadan then, they wear matric gown to the dining hall to eat. And, it was a thing of honor. And then if you couldn't come to the dining hall, you call and they serve you. You see the waiter with long cap. Will roll the trolley.
That'll be the day.
To serve you your food in your room. So that was why they could protest when the chicken was reduced from half chicken to quarter chicken. Now, even the chicken.
You get chicken,
so what we are talking about really is that, the more we started expanding the education, and then you say states started building many universities, we also needed to look for a model to consistently fund these universities. Yeah. And so the idea where you practice, you have a local government called Nigeria, where the president is the local government chairman, and then you have governors who are just there doing nothing, and then you ask them to build the university, and the university become mushroom.
Let's take Chuka, but I remember all my siblings went to OAU actually, and the reason I didn't want to go there was they were always on strike. The University of Lagos that I went to had a system in place where
it's
the
same thing. There's no difference.
No, the VC at the time.
The structures too are dilapidated.
And they started building commercial structures in Unilag.
I say go there. They don't get.
I don't know what you're talking about, infrastructure. If these young ones don't have decent places to sleep and decent access to research, then we're not even talking about.
Sorry, Chuka, quickly.
No, that would be
Chuka, quickly, wait. Do you know that these universities are ASU, withdraw from ASU? The hostess.
That's what we're saying.
Americans who put their prisoners in where we call university hostess. I'm telling you. Quote me.
Chuka.
Well, my own take here is that this negotiation is to do with ASU. Has the education minister been involved at all?
Who is he?
Not because I may be wrong. I don't want to accuse him of what he has not done or has done.
No, but even in the discussion, education minister is not part of the negotiation.
As a minister of education, he has been there since 2015.
It's Minister of Labour that is negotiating on their behalf.
Exactly. And I don't know what that man understands about the academia at the moment. Adamu is 66. He's too old for the job, and he's a complete failure. He has been there, reappointed, nothing has happened, everything is down.
I totally agree.
Not only him,
I remember his first tenure when Queen's College was having the cholera outbreak, and we never heard anything from him.
Not only him, I can begin to count
what
for you.
What about the National Orientation Agency?
Samegu was education minister as we were on strike, and he was celebrating 25 years of marriage. Yes, quote me. Wike was education minister, and this is a lawyer who the only credential he had, claim to fame was his being a chief of staff and the local government chairman. And so you made him education minister under GEJ. What did we achieve?
Nothing.
And so a situation where you don't even have, people who are knowledgeable in education heading the education ministers. What are we talking about?
And then if you contrast that with what we see the Biden government doing now, they're handpicking.
Don't spoil my day now.
They're handpicking people from Harvard, from Yale, former Surgeon General, and so on and so forth.
Here, did you campaign? Are you a member of the party?
Oh, my word. Okay, then I'm up next after the break.